तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiridhitam Kalmashāpaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatatam Bhuigrunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and we are in the conversations of 12th April 1885, and yesterday we read up to page 757, but to get the connection, we have to go back quite a little. And we come back to page 753. In English, page 753. In Bengali, we come back to 804. Bengali 804. And the paragraph is Girish Keshav Charit Padite Chen. In English, Girish was reading a life of Keshav, written by Trailokya of the Brahma Samaj. In it, Trailokya said that at first Sri Ramakrishna had been very much opposed to the world. This carries no meaning. The translation has to be modified quite a bit. And my suggestion is, Sri Ramakrishna had been very much opposed to the world. What will he do opposing to the world? He has come to help people in the world. Meaning is that at first Sri Ramakrishna had been very much opposed to the worldly life. We read in Bengali, परमहंसदेव आगे संसारेर ऊपर बड़ो विरक्त छिलेन. Sansar is worldly life. Sansar means the world. No, that meaning is not taken here. Sansar here means married life, worldly life, householder's life. So we can say worldly life, married life, householder's life. Even Thakur was never against householder's life. He was against indulging in woman and God, being attached to woman and God. So the proper translation could only be worldly life, whatever sense it carries. So in the beginning, Trailokya is telling in Keshav's life biography that Sri Ramakrishna was in the beginning very much opposed to worldly life. But that after meeting Keshav, he had changed his mind and had come to believe that one could lead a worldly life in the world as well. This has to be completely changed. Now has come to believe. Those who want to note down, please note down. It has to be changed. Otherwise, it carries no meaning. And had come to believe that one could have spirituality living a worldly life also. He has now come to believe that one can have spirituality while living the worldly life. Several devotees had told the master about this. They wanted to discuss it with Trailokya in master's presence. Those passages in the book had been read to the master by the devotees. And they wanted Thakur's support on this point, that Sri Ramakrishna has not changed his opinion. He had the same opinion. We must discuss first the relation between the characters mentioned in this passage. First take Thakur and Keshav. Thakur loved Keshav very much, and Keshav became the instrument in Thakur's hand to tell about Thakur to the English educated people in Calcutta. One point. When Keshav passed away, Thakur said, "My right hand has gone." Thakur's love for Keshav was for this purpose. And of course, we find, according to the narration in Great Master and other places, that Keshav could not understand Thakur 10%. On the other hand, Keshav loved and revered Thakur to the maximum possible way. He had his own understanding about the harmony of religions, and he made a new religion out of it. That is not the harmony of religion. But his understanding of harmony of religions led to his making a new religion called the New Dispensation, Navavidhan. And when he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna, he used to say, "Jai Navavidhan ki Jai." He took Thakur as the model of Navavidhan. This was Keshav's understanding of Thakur. We gather from this that Keshav changed quite a bit by Thakur's influence. He adopted many Indian things, he adopted many things from the Orthodox Hinduism, and he understood the value of renunciation, which Brahmos never understood before. This much change is in Keshav. So we have discussed Thakur and Keshav. Now come to Thakur's disciples. Let us come to Trailokya. Now Trailokya loved both Thakur and Keshav same. We see long after Keshav's passing away, Trailokya continues visiting Thakur, getting inspired by him, honoring him like anything. But perhaps the only difference in his mind, he is giving more value to Keshav than to Thakur. That is the only difference. While Thakur's disciples, Girish, Master Mashai, and many others, they also honor Keshav, but they give supreme importance to Sri Ramakrishna. They have understood his ideas. And they have also understood that Thakur is not influenced by Keshav, but Keshav has been influenced by Thakur. This much is the point of dispute or difference of opinion. Trailokya honors Keshav loves Keshav. He takes Keshav as his guru. Trailokya loves Thakur, adores him, composes songs on Thakur states, sings beautifully to Thakur, and continues to visit Thakur after Keshav's passing away also. Thakur's disciples, on the other hand, also respect Keshav, but never in the same category as they respect Sri Ramakrishna. They respect Sri Ramakrishna and love and adore him as the absolute ideal of spirituality. And they also know he does not change his opinion. Being incarnation, he has held this opinion from beginning to end. And if there is any end. And Thakur loves Keshav, but Keshav has not fully understood Thakur. That is the firm opinion of Sri Ramakrishna's disciple like Girish Master and others. Now, Trilokya has written like this. So, they have read it out to Thakur. And they understood from Thakur again that it is not correct. And they want to discuss it with Trilokya when Trilokya comes to Thakur. In Thakur's presence, they want to discuss. And they want Thakur to express his opinion frankly in front of all of them. That is the point going on. And so we read, noticing the book in Girish's hand, Sri Ramakrishna said to Girish, M, Ram, and the other devotees, those people are busy with the world, busy with the worldly life, busy with the worldly life. That is why they set such a high value on worldly life. Oh, twice. Then we shall have to see the Bengali. ওরা এই নিয়ে আছে they are busy with, let us translate exactly, that will carry better sense, because we'll have to repeat otherwise. They are busy with this thing only. Let us translate like this. Literally, they are busy with this thing only. Because Girish and others have already talked about worldly life. So they are busy with this only. That is why they set such a high value on worldly life. So worldly life, value of worldly life, high value of worldly life, because they are immersed in the world. And they deal day and night with the things of the world. They are busy day and night with the enjoyments of the world. So to carry all this sense, we can only say they are busy with this very thing which is being discussed, the worldly life. They are busy with this very thing. That is why they set such a high value for worldly life. They are drowned in woman and gold. Straight away Thakur says that. That is before Trailokya has come on. When Girish has read that book, Thakur has told, they talk like this because they are merged in woman and gold. So that is what Thakur objects. He never objects, you live where God has kept you. And he has praised worldly life even much before. And he has always said that spiritual struggle in worldly life is like fighting from a fort. So all that he has said. But one thing we'll notice, wherever he talks of spirituality in worldly life, he always adds but, with a rider, with a rider, with a spirit of renunciation, with the desire, tendency to give up attachment to woman and God. That is Thakur's opinion of life in the world, worldly life, that one may live in the world, but must have dispassion about woman and gold, about sex and greed. One doesn't talk like that way after realizing God. So Thakur's opinion of worldly life is very funny. Huh? After realizing God, you can live in the world, then you will not be attached. And for this, he has given several examples. He would dilute it to the extent after you attain love for God, you can live in the world. Two things he tells always. One is that after realizing God, if you live in the world, that is ideal, like the king Janaka. Otherwise, after attaining the love of God, you can live in the world. That is the second alternative always. And for that he gives example that jackfruit cutting, smearing hands with turmeric powder, all that example he gives. So that is what is Thakur's opinion. And he is expressing it here to Girish. One doesn't talk that way after realizing God. After enjoying divine bliss, one looks on the world as cow droppings. That is the harsh language Thakur uses. After the bliss of God, worldly so-called enjoyments are cow droppings, crow droppings. At the very outset, I utterly renounced everything. That is Thakur's own life. At the very outset, I utterly renounced everything to be a model before everybody. Not only did I renounce the company of worldly people during sadhana, but now and then the company of devotees as well. So much transcendence is necessary. His own life, he avoided company of worldly people, avoided company even of devotees because he wanted to transcend beyond everything. But now and then the company of devotees as well. I noticed that the devotees were dropping dead one by one. So even a sense of the world is clearly in Thakur's mind. They see people in the world die one after the another. And that made my heart breathe with pain. So that gives pain if you are attached. But now I keep one or two of them with me. After realizing God, he keeps one or two devotees with him. So this much, then we jump, we read all those things. Triloka comes, sings, Girish has gone to his home. So from there, they are asking Triloka to sing. Now we come to page 756. After reading those two paras, we come to page 756. As evening came on, Bengali page we must say Shashtha Pariched. Sandhya Vilo. That point we have come. As evening came on, lamps were lighted in the drawing room and on the veranda. Sri Ramakrishna bowed to the Divine Mother and began to chant the name of God. The devotees sat around and listened to his sweet chanting. They wanted to discuss with Trilokya his remarks about the master's change of opinion on worldly life. Girish started the discussion. So from here, we have to read again all the points. Girish to Trilokya. You have written that after coming in contact with Keshav, Sri Ramakrishna changed his views about worldly life, but it isn't true. So Girish has bluntly put the final opinion of Thakur's devotees. It isn't true. Master, to Trilokya and the other devotees, that last point, if a man enjoys the bliss of God, he doesn't enjoy the world. He doesn't enjoy the worldly life. He doesn't enjoy anything in the world. संसार आलूनी बोध है. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Insipid. You see, the formation is like that. To give taste to anything, we add a little salt, lavan. And if we do not add any salt, then how it tastes? Insipid, tasteless. That is the word used in Bengali. So, if a man enjoys the bliss of God, insipid they are used in the next sentence. The next sentence is balo lagena. Okay. That we can allow. He doesn't enjoy the world. Having tasted divine bliss, he finds the world insipid. If a man gets a shawl, he doesn't care for broadcloth, the towel like gamcha. Banat. Banat is a imitation. Now, here start the discussion. Trilokya. I refer to those who wanted to lead a worldly life. I didn't mean renouncers. That means this much is ready to say that renouncers are a different category at all. I'm not talking about them. I'm not saying that everybody should follow worldly life and that God can be found only in worldly life. I'm separating the renouncers. And I referred to those who wanted to lead a worldly life. That means those who want to lead a worldly life can think of spirituality even with worldly life. That much opinion Thakur changed. That is what I am saying. Master, what are you talking about? People talk about leading a religious life in the world. That old point he reiterates. But if they once taste the bliss of God, they will not enjoy anything else. So the worldly life does not come in the picture at all. Their attachment to worldly duties declines. As their spiritual joy now decreases, as their spiritual joy becomes deeper, they simply cannot perform their worldly duties. So not only worldly enjoyment, but the worldly duties are not possible. And this is a unique feature in Thakur that grades. The more and more he goes into spirituality, the less and less he can indulge in worldly duties. More and more they seek that joy, that God joy. Can worldly pleasures and sex pleasures be compared to the bliss of God? Categorically different. If a man once tastes that bliss, he runs after it ever afterwards. It matters very little to him then whether the world remains or disappears. Whether the world remains or disappears, he is not concerned with anything of the world, though he may appear to live in the world or he may renounce the world, but mentally the world is given up completely. Though the chatak bird is about to die of a parched throat, and around it there are 7 oceans, rivers, and lakes overflowing with water, still it will not touch that water. Its throat is cracking with thirst, and still it will not drink that water. It looks up, mouth agape, for the rain to fall when the star Swati is in the ascendant. So much the sannyasi or the man who realized God looks at the world. He never tastes it. To the chatak bird, all waters are mere dryness besides Swati water. People say they will hold to both God and the world. That is the point. That is the main point. People say they will hold to both God and the world. After drinking an ounce of wine, a man may be pleasantly intoxicated and also conscious of the world. But can he be both when he has drunk a great deal more? When he has become fully intoxicated with God's joy, then he cannot maintain his attachment to the world or his duties in the world or his enjoyment in the world. After the bliss of God, nothing else takes good. Then talk about woman and gold. Nothing else tastes good after realizing God. And woman and gold are the lowest. One can never like them. Then talk about woman and gold stabs the heart as it were. Intoning, imitating, I cannot enjoy the talk of worldly people. When a man becomes mad for God, he doesn't enjoy money or such things. That is the style of the Kirtaniyas. Trailokya. But sir, if a man is to remain in the world, that point is there. Huh? He needs money and he must also save. He has to give in charity, and Thakur did not allow him to complete that sentence when he hears of charity. Master, what? Do you mean that one must first save money and then seek God? And you talk about charity and kindness. A worldly man spends thousands of rupees for his daughter's marriage, yet all the while his neighbors are dying of starvation and he finds it hard to give them 2 morsels of rice. That is the worldly man. Huh? He calculates 1,000 times before giving them even that much. The people around him have nothing to eat. But what does he care about that? He says to himself, what can I do? Let the rascals live or die. All I care about is that the members of my family should live well. And they talk about doing good to people, good to others. Trilokya. But sir, there are good people in the world as well. Thakur's statement is about worldly people in general. So Trailokya brings an exception. But sir, there are good people in the world as well. Take the case of Pundarika Vidyanidhi, the devotee of Chaitanya. He lived in the world. Now Thakur has a remark on that Pundarika Vidyanidhi, whom Trailokya is taking as an ideal householder. Master, he had drank wine up to his neck. If he had drank a little more, he wouldn't have led a worldly life straight away. Not possible. Trailokya remained silent. So this temporarily at least has silenced Trailokya. M said aside to Girish, M is shy. So instead of telling Trailokya, he is telling to Girish. M said aside to Girish, then what he has written is not true. Because Thakur is firm on his opinion. Girish to Trailokya. Then what you have written is not true. Trailokya. Why so? Does he, meaning Sri Ramakrishna, doesn't he admit that a man can lead a spiritual life in the world? Now that he admitted even before. But this is the point he is raising again and again, that there are good people. Okay, you cancel that example. But Thakur also opines that people can live in the world, can lead a spiritual life in the world. संसारे धर्म है. Master, yes, he can, but that is Thakur's point. Continuously we see Thakur accepts that one can live a married life or householder's life and have spirituality, but if he follows like this, not like an ordinary householder. Yes, he can, but such a man should first of all attain knowledge and then live in the world. So he goes back to his own. It is firm in his opinion. First let him attain knowledge and then live in the world. He can have spiritual life in the world. I accept that. But what type? First let him have knowledge and then live in the world. First he should realize God. That is the meaning of knowledge. Huh? Knowledge is not book learning. Knowledge is change of consciousness. Knowledge means realizing God. That we saw Thakur's opinion when Master Mashe met him on the second day. And he said his wife is ignorant. And Thakur said, you are a man of knowledge. So he was MA, LLB and whatever it may be, preparing for that. But that is not knowledge. First he should realize God. Then he can swim in a sea of slander and not be stayed. कलंक सागरे भासे तबु कलंक ना लागे काय. Kalanka is some blemish. World is full of blemish. He lives in that world, but the blemish does not touch him if he has already realized God. After realizing God, a man can live in the world like a mudfish. That is the example. The world he lives in after attaining God is the world of Vidya. Totally, the vision has changed. World of Vidya means everything in the world appears to him to lead Godwards, to be filled with God, to lead Godwards. That is how it appears to the man of realization. In it he sees neither woman nor God, so nothing to pull him down. He does not see woman as woman, he does not see God as God. He finds there only devotion, devotee, and God. Aha. Not like the Advaiti say he finds God alone. He says devotion, devotees, and God. Not man and woman relation. That does not exist there. Devotees are there, their devotion is there, and God is there. Very sweet and harmonizing sentence. You see, I too have a wife. Best example. Huh? And a few pots and pans in my room, worldly things. I too feed a few vagabonds, few vagabonds. प्याला देर खाइए दी. प्याला देर are his disciples, his followers, ordinary people. That is the meaning. I too worry about the devotees. Havi's mother, for instance, worry about that lady, Master Maharsh's wife, about Havi's mother also. I worry for her spiritual growth, for her stability in the world. When they come here, I take care of them in the spiritual sense. I do not go about chasing them. A devotee to Trailokya. So, this topic is not yet over, but another fault, misunderstanding, non-understanding in the Brahma Samaj, in Trailokya, is being pointed out. A devotee to Trailokya. I have read in your book that you do not believe in the incarnation of God. You said so in connection with Chaitanya. So Chaitanya is a great man, great saint, but not avatar. Trilokya. Why? Chaitanya himself protested against the idea of divine incarnation. Anyway, the incarnation never says I am God. He always says and tries to behave as a man. That is the value of the incarnation. Let us remind ourselves of Ramachandra in Valmiki Ramayana. When after conquering Ravana, killing Ravana, he was getting ready to examine Sita's purity through fire ordeal. All the gods, led by Brahma, came there and asked Rama, "Do you not know who you are?" Rama said, "I know well. Atmanam manusham manne Ramam Dasharathatmajam. I hold myself to be a man, the son of Dasharatha." And taking that, modern people say, see, Rama himself has said he is not God. Forgetting the context. If Rama is a man, then why Brahma and other gods have felt apprehensive about burning of Sita? So that is the point. Why Chaitanya himself protested against the idea of divine incarnation. Once in Puri, Advaita and the other devotees sang a song to the effect that Chaitanya was God. At this, Chaitanya shut the door of his room. Infinite are the glories of God. As he, meaning Sri Ramakrishna, says, the devotee is the parlor of God. That much we accept. Suppose a parlor is very furnished, parlor is very well furnished. Does that mean that the master of the house has exhausted all his power and splendor in that one parlor? So they tried to make an example. A master may furnish, spend lot of money on his parlor, but not his entire property. So God is partially lives in devotees. But you by incarnation mean God fully is there. That is not possible. Girish. He, meaning Sri Ramakrishna, says that prema alone is the essence of God. We need the man through when his ecstatic love of God flows. He says that the milk of the cow flows through the udder. We need the udder. We do not care for the other parts of the cow, the legs, tail, and so on. So Girish argues that small here and there manifestations of God are different, and full manifestation of God is different. Trilokya. The milk of God, prema, flows through an infinite number of channels. God has infinite powers. So by infinity, he has no idea, but he says everywhere God is there. Not only about incarnation. Incarnation means in one place God is concentrated. That I do not agree. Girish. But what other power can stand before prema? So prema power is the main, and that is manifest in an incarnation. Trilokya. It is possible if he was the power wants it, everything is in God's power. Girish. Yes, I admit that. But there is also a thing called the power of avidya. So wonderful. All power is God's power. But the expressions, some expressions, Maya Shakti drowns a man in the world. And the other power which lives him, that is Garisha, I accept all power is God. But power manifestation is of two types. Trilokya is trying to philosophically argue on that point. Trilokya, is avidya a thing? Does there exist a substance called avidya? Thakur says avidya is the manifestation of power. But in Vedanta book, sometimes it appears as if avidya is a thing. It is only a negation, as darkness is the negation of light. There is no doubt that we prize prema most. What is a drop to God in an ocean unto us? For God, infinite prema is a drop, and we take it as ocean. But if you say that prema is the last word about God, then you limit God himself. Prema is not a limited thing, but Trilogya are master to Trilogya and the other devotees. Yes, that is true. But an ounce of wine makes me drunk. What need have I to count the gallons of wine in the tavern? What need have we to know about the infinite powers of God? So Thakur's question is tasting the bliss of God. God is infinite, and we need not know what all infinity is. We have to realize God, and we have to enjoy the bliss of God. So, as if agreeing to Trilokya, but putting again a rider. Girish to Trilokya. So Girish wants a pointed answer. Do you believe in the incarnation of God? You are discussing this or that or that. Do you believe in the incarnation of God? Trailokya. God incarnates himself through his devotees alone. That much. There cannot be a manifestation of infinite powers. It simply isn't possible. It is impossible for any man to manifest infinite powers. Girish has his own argument. You can serve your children as Brahma Gopal. Then why isn't it possible to worship a great soul as God? That is a teaching which Brahmada accepted. You can worship child as a symbol of God. Now, if there is an incarnation, why not see there is God in him fully? Master to Trailokya. Why all this bother about infinity? Infinity is only a word there. If I want to touch you, must I touch your entire body? If you want to bathe in the Ganges, must you touch the whole river from Haridwar down to the ocean? Why all this comes? I and mine. Arguments and everything come for I and mine. So Thakur goes now directly to the point. All troubles come to an end when the ego dies. As long as a trace of I consciousness remains, one is conscious of difference. Nobody knows what remains after the I disappears. Nirvikal Samadhi, no incarnation, no man, no word. Nobody can express it in words. That which it remains after the I disappears, one cannot say that a part manifests through this man and the rest through another. Satchidananda is the ocean. The pot of I is immersed in it. As long as the pot exists, the water seems to be divided into two parts, one part inside the pot and the other part outside it. But when the pot is broken, then there is only one stretch of water. One cannot even say that. Who would say that? So a talk of infinite is not meaningful unless I is gone. After the discussion, so this much discussion has taken place. After the discussion, Sri Ramakrishna became engaged in pleasant conversation with Trailokya so that any irritation, negative thought about each other, quarrel in the mind should not remain. Master, you are happy, isn't that so? Now this point, Thakur has actually caught him. By praising him, he catches the man. That was Thakur's style. We have seen in Shashi Maharaj's discussion that he would ask a strong point of the man, and the man will be carried by the strong point, and then he will see that Thakur has gone much further. So that was Thakur's style, not debating, not argumenting, but accepting his point and then showing his. He will himself show his mistake. That is the one. Master, you are happy, isn't that so? Trailokya, but I shall become my old self again as soon as I leave this place. This accepts. In presence of, that is why he comes to Thakur again and again. So long as I am in this place, I am on a high plane. When I go back, I will be again myself, means my old self, unevolved. Here I feel much the awakening of spiritual consciousness. So indirectly has to accept avatar. Master, you don't have to be afraid of walking on thorns if you are wearing shoes. So if you are happy here, take the essence of this place and then go to your house. You needn't be afraid of woman and God if you know that God alone is real and all else is real. This is Thakur's straight Vedanta Vakya. What I feel, all the questions, all the problems, all the philosophical discussions, all the problems of spiritual life no more exist if one can have faith in this point. I'll remember some incidents. One young girl, devotee, my Guruji's health was very bad in those days due to diabetes. Even if he talks little to somebody, that will revolve throughout his mind. Now, one girl in Pune had some philosophical problems in her mind or for her family life or social life. There were certain confusing decisions which she wanted to take. And she wrote to Bhumananji asking, shall I come to Nagpur to ask questions from Maharaj? Bhumananji consulted Maharaj and yes, sir, you come. Now she came. As she came and saluted him, he started talking himself. He said, Pushpa, remember one thing. Everything in this world is passing away. Only Thakur does not go away. Again and again he repeated same sentence. Everything is passing away, but not Thakur. And that girl was nodding her head this side, that side, and after 5-10 minutes came out. We asked her, you have not asked any question? She said, all my questions are solved by this one thing. What is that thing? God is real, everything is unreal. God is Nitya, everything else is Anitya. That has solved all problems. This is the base of Vedantic thinking. Even when Shankaracharya comments on Gita, he says many people have commented by giving word meaning and this and that, but that has led to confusion in the people. I want to comment only Vivekata, that is the way. God is real, everything else is unreal. Holding this, I want to comment on the Gita. Another illustration. My senior Guru Bandhu, Swami Shivatattvanji, when he was a college student, he had lot of philosophical unsolved problems in his mind. And first day when he came to ashram, he met my Guruji, and while talking he said, Narayan, remember that reality is transcendent. Same meaning. And that Narayan Maharaj says, all my philosophical problems got smashed. Everything vanished. I could understand everything clearly. So that is the ultimate truth which one has to take resort to understand all the philosophical problems. So Trilokya's difficulty, Thakur solved by that formula. You needn't be afraid of woman and gold if you know that God alone is real and all else illusory. So discussion over, it's talking sweetly, but this problem comes out and he solves it. It was about 9 o'clock in the evening. Balram took Trilokya to another room and gave him refreshments. Sri Ramakrishna began to tell the devotees about Trilokyan people of his views. In the absence of Trilokya, Master to Girish and the other devotees. Do you know what these people are like? They are like a frog living in a well. They have very limited vision. who has never seen the outside world? They are like a frog living in a well who has never seen the outside world. He knows only his will. He knows only his well. So he will not believe that there is such a thing as the world, outside world. Outside is well. Actually, in the story told by Swamiji, that frog in the well does not know about ocean. Likewise, people talk so much about the world because they have not known the joy of God. Unlimited thing they do not know, so they are got limited. This is Thakur's analysis of all people of the Relocate type. What is the use of arguing with them? To Girish, why do you argue with them so much? They busy themselves with both the world and God. One cannot understand the joy of God unless one has tasted it. So all Trilokya's ideas are from his standpoint in the world. He has not tasted God to understand things. Can anybody explain sex pleasure to a 5-year-old boy? Worldly people talk about God only from hearsay. They don't know God at all. Children, hearing their old aunts quarreling among themselves, learn to say, "There is my God, I swear by God." That is the talk of old women. Children do not understand what it is. They simply imitate that. But that doesn't matter. I don't blame such people. Can all comprehend the individuals? So, but does not matter. I don't blame them. They have their limited views. Can all comprehend the indivisible Satchidananda? Only 12 rishis could recognize Ramachandra about incarnation. All cannot recognize an incarnation of God. Some take him for an ordinary man, some for a holy person, and only a few recognize him as an incarnation. For this, he has a beautiful illustration. As much a man can understand, that much value he can give. One offers a price for an article according to one's capital. A rich man said to his servant, "Take this diamond to the market and let me know how different people price it. Take it first of all to the eggplant seller." The servant took the diamond to the eggplant seller. He examined it, turning it over in the palm of his hand, that seller, and said, "Brother, I can give 9 seers of eggplants for 8 kgs. "Friend," said the servant, "a little more," said 10 seers. The eggplant seller replied, "No, I have already quoted above the market price. You may give it to me if that price suits you." The servant laughed. He went back to the master and said, "Sir, he would give me only 9 seers of eggplant and not one more." He said he had offered more than the market price. The master smiled and said, "Now take it to the cloth dealer. The other man deals only in eggplants. What does he know about a diamond? The cloth dealer has a little more capital. Let us see how much he offers for it." The servant went to the cloth dealer and said, "Will you buy this? How much will you pay for it?" The merchant said, "Yes, it is a good thing. I can make a nice ornament out of it. I will give you 900 rupees for it." "Brother," said the servant, "offer a little more and I will sell it to you. Give me at least 1,000 rupees. The cloth dealer said, "Friend, don't press me for more. I have offered more than the market price. I cannot give a rupee more. Suit yourself." Laughing, the servant returned to his master and said, "He won't give a rupee more than 900. He too said he had quoted above the market price. The master said with a laugh, "Now take it to a jeweler. Let us see what he has to say. The servant went to a jeweler. The jeweler glanced at the diamond and said at once, I will give you 100,000 rupees for it, 1 lakh. They talk of, so that is how people value things according to their capital. They talk of practicing religion in the world. Suppose a man is shut up in a room. All the doors and windows are closed. Only a little light comes through a hole in the ceiling. Can he see the sun with that roof over his head? And what will he do with only one ray of light? Woman and gold is the roof. Can he see the sun unless he removes the roof? Worldly people are shut up in a room as it were. When Triloki is not there, Thakur does not have to pacify him. He is more straight. The incarnation of God belongs to the class of the Ishwar Koti. They are categorically different. They roam about in the open spaces. They are never imprisoned in the world, never entangled by it. Their ego is not the thick ego of worldly people. The ego, the I consciousness of worldly people is like 4 walls and a roof. The man inside them cannot see anything outside. The ego of the incarnation and other Ishwar Kotis is a thin ego. Through it, they have an uninterrupted vision of God. Thin ego, that means transparent. Take the case of a man who stands by a wall on both sides of which there are meadows stretching to infinity. If there is a hole in the wall, through it he can see everything on the other side. If the hole is a big one, he can even pass through it. The ego of the incarnations and other Ishwar Kutis is like the wall with a hole. Though they remain on this side of the wall, still they can see the endless meadows on the other side. That is to say, though they have a human body, they are always united with God. Again, if they will, they can pass through the big hole to the other side and remain in samadhi. Beautiful examples. Huh? And if the hole is big enough, they can go through it and come back again. That is to say, though established in samadhi, they can again descend to the worldly plane. So, incarnation has been beautifully described. The devotees listen breathlessly to these words about the mystery of divine incarnation. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiriritam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi Grunantiye Bhuridajana Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.